guys, this is Crap Hunter. Welcome back to What of Tanks? Woo! And yes, this is an E25 in my garage. Huzzah! Yes, I have finally got an E25 in my garage. I've been wanting this thing for so long, but the price of it was so ridiculous. But yeah, this, if you're wondering what this thing is, she is a German Tier 7 premium tank destroyer. If we go to the tech tree, there she is. She is situated underneath the Jagdpanther, and she is freaking awesome. Like, oh. But before I go on, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Pueblo's Wrath, leader of the clan leader of the Priests of Wololo, for very kindly giving me this vehicle. This is not a cheap vehicle, costs 6,700 gold, or about 20 quid the last time I checked the store. So she's not a cheap vehicle. That said though, this tank has a number of benefits because it's a premium tank. One of them, of course, is the fact that with premium tanks you earn more of an income. Another benefit is that you can train your crew, so any German TD crew, so if I wanted to train up my Hetzer crew, I could quite happily take this guy and put him in the E25, and because he is of the same nation and type of vehicle, it will automatically train him and give him extra bonuses. If I wanted to use my Borsig crew on the E25, it would be okay. Third, you know, any tank crew from any tank destroyer crew from Germany, I could train on the E25. That's a big bonus. Money and crew training are the two big bonuses of the premium tanks. But this tank also has another bonus, which is freaking awesome, is that it's got premium matchmaking. Now, for those of you who don't have premium tanks or whatever, premium matchmaking with this thing means that when I play this tank on my own, I will never see a tier 9 game. I could drive in the Tiger, get tier 9 games, but if I go in the E25 on my own, I will never see a tier 9 tank. And there's a good reason for it. It's this gun. Now, some of you would think that a tier 7 tank using a tier 6 gun would be a bad thing, but considering that this is the L70 we're talking about, the most adequate gun, tier 75mm gun I've ever witnessed, this tank makes it even more awesome. Yeah, check that fire rate. Yeah, that is 20 rounds a minute, or with the XVM stats giving me, it says 2.72 reload. That's awesome! And if I'm not mistaken, if I could get 100% crew with my vents and rammer, I might even lower that number down to 2.5. That's just freaking amazing. And not only that, you get a 0.3 accuracy and a 1.5 second aiming time. This tank is godly. And I've only had less than 10 games, but she is awesome, and I love it. And I thought for this video we'd have a few games where I show you these few games that I've played in the replay section. So, without further ado, enough of me rambling, let's get in there. And we're back. And this was my first game in the E25. I am joined with, on this replay, Bidden War, or Pueblo's Wrath, and Lee Claire. I might just call him Lee, just for sake of breeze. So this was my first game, so don't expect me to do well. Yeah, Bidden War and Lee were both heading into the middle of the map. This is mines on encounter mode, so Lee and Bidden War sort of told me, right, come up to the middle of the map, we'll try and get some shots in on the enemy, on the cap. And we're all three of us are charging up towards the middle of the hill. I am super impressed at that point by the maneuverability when a 59-16 appears. And we almost make it, but unfortunately Bidden does take a shot to his rear, so we couldn't completely troll the team. But at this point though, he had attracted the Hornet's nest. All three of us shoot at the same time, doing a crap ton of damage. I throw another shot, but unfortunately that goes down. I luckily bounce, I get another shot in. I think I bounced again as well, not too sure. I get a little cocky here and try and push up. I very fortunately only take it on the tread, and therefore don't do it. But unfortunately my shot as well doesn't do any extra damage. But that 59-16 is doomed. But by this point we have realised that none of our team were pushing into the actual cap zone, and that the enemy were already starting to cap us. So Lee gets me to come over towards the line, and we're taking our time setting up when an A44's rear appears. Note the rate of fire on this thing. It's just ridiculous. I could fire so many shots as well. It's crazy. So the A44 decides to try and target me, and for a few seconds it was pretty damn awesome getting targeted. But by this point, Bidden War, and I think a bit of miscommunication here came into effect, because Bidden War takes a hit, and then he starts trying to back up whilst I'm trying to get a shot on the A44. And then my luck runs out, and RNG trolled me so hard. And I take a whole shitload of damage. Unfortunately, the last one being a very lucky save from a Hummel. So the game is getting quite nerve-wracking, it's getting quite tense, and it could go either way, but luckily the shot to the T-34 signifies his doom. So now I'm extremely low on health, and very conscious of the fact that even so much as a breath from a gun would kill me. But luckily we were able to stop the enemy cap, therefore by saving the game for a few extra minutes. So not being able to do anything along this line, I decide to go try and help Bidden War out, as he's trying to pin down the VK3002DB and also potentially get some shots in Hummel tank. So I move into position behind Bidden War, and I take a preemptive shot at the VK, but unfortunately it doesn't quite go through. I'm moving slightly forwards to try and get a shot in. I get the absolute bare minimum front of a Jagdpanther, but a couple of shots, no, all it's going to do is just tread the line. By this point though, Lee was signaling to us that there was a couple of enemy TDs pushing up towards our middle section. So one of them is knocked out by Lee, but the T25-2 is charging up as well. So I take my first shot, and then I take a very much clutch shot, but I was panicking because I thought he was going to shoot me before I got a chance to react. So I'm very much proddy waiting to shoot. Okay, now he's shot, I can now start reloading. First shot bounces, second shot, in on the turret, and Lee decides to finish him off. So the game is almost ours, or it's pretty much ours now, thanks to the E25 platoon. I think we carried this game quite well, to be honest with you. The teamwork we had in this game, I find, was pretty awesome. So the enemy cap was about to be had, then bang! ARL makes a mistake and allows me to shoot at his side turret, meaning that now there is absolutely no hope. And Bidden, in a desperate attempt to get down into the base, kills himself by jumping off a cliff. I very luckily get into cover in time before the ARL 44 has a chance to shoot. Lee decides to have a shot in against him and promptly finish. Oh, the Leopard actually finishes him off. By this point, the game is pretty much over. An 88 is watching behind. I use my extreme zoom to be able to see where he's aiming. And yeah, this guy is completely pinned. I kind of feel sorry for the 80 British tank drivers. I actually make a mistake here. I was attempting to try and get around the rear, but unfortunately I almost panic and get myself killed. But luckily the T43 knocks him out. So not bad for my first game in the E25. So here are the results of that game. We were victorious, and for the rewards I got a Mastery Badge 2nd class. Defender. I was actually quite surprised to see this. I didn't realize I didn't realize it was actually that close. And finally, I got the Confederate Award. As for the team score, I did the 2nd most damage, being 1809. As for experience, I got the 3rd amount, being 861. The most damage and experience goes to the T43, so kudos to him. But yeah, for my first game, I was pretty impressed. Like, I thought, Jesus Christ, you know, E25 platoons are awesome, especially when, you know, you've got 2 professionals and 1 scrub. So guess who the scrub is? It's Bidden. No joke. Anyway, so yeah, for a first game, I was pretty impressed with those results. I'm pretty happy to have them there. So anyway, we'll take you now back to the next room, and we're back for the 2nd game. Now this game took place in Lakeville. It's a standard Lakeville match. I was unfortunately late to the party, so I started just as the game had already begun. And our team, while it is kind of fairly spread out, none of the heavies are moving towards the town itself. which instantly sent me bad vibes. Like, normally a heavy tank would go into the town. It's the sort of done thing, but whatever. So, enemy Studer Emil is in the central part, and he's been spotted, but unfortunately I don't have any shots on him. Our ELC gets completely buggered by a KV-2. Benny, T21 knocks out our T1 Heavy. And so far I have not really encountered any tanks, but I utilise my speed and manoeuvrability to get me right alongside the church. Hopefully going to get a couple of shots on that Studer Emil from here. Taking my time, aim. First shot just misses and hits his gun manslet. Second shot goes into the building, and the third shot I decide to take goes, well, to somewhere. Then an enemy SU-122-44 YOLOs up the road, being completely spotted. I pop another shot, but unfortunately doesn't kill him. Now, in this game, I think this game was like my third or fourth, and I started to feel like I had to take a cautious line because none of our heavies were now in the town. I thought, right, well, you know, we got to work and do what we can to save this because, you know, I get bad vibes when no one's there. So I took a much more cautious line. I decided to withdraw, relocate, and get back into the line. I try and see if I can get a cheeky angle on the A44 and MT25, but unfortunately to no avail. But then by this point I had found myself a nice cozy position and utilised the rapid fire of my gun, tried to take a shot at the MTE but hit the treads of the other one, and start hammering in on both the MT25 and the A44. Just missed a shot there. Enemy SU-85 appears, I throw a shot, very low damage roll. Try and knock out the MT25 as well. Cheeky cupola shot. Low damage, but cheeky cupola, another cheeky cupola. Both of the tanks decide to take a pot shot at me. MT25 YOLOs for the last time. I'm throwing more shots in. I just dodge a shot from the A44. Decide to relocate, try and see if I can get a flank shot on him. When we destroy the A44, trying to wait until I get unspotted before I move up, when a T29 appears. Now, this next engagement, I don't think I had actually any thought or logical processes going through my mind when this happened, except for flank tank, pen tank. So I go right behind him and start trying to shoot, whilst also being rammed out of the way. Now, in my view, I will instantly start zooming in, so I utilise the very smallness part of this tank and try and get shots into this. So what I'll do is I'll zoom out and show you what it was like from the outside. And I had ridiculous amounts of RNG troll here. Most shots just bounced off so many times. Like, I know I was right on the lip, but it was getting frustrating at that point. I was like, oh, come on, let me freaking pen you. So then I decided to opt for premium shell. By this point, though, I hadn't realised he was there until he got killed by the T-34-1. So Bert decides to take a run for it, and unfortunately, I couldn't get a shot in on him. So instead, I have a look at the Studer Emil. Now, watch this RNG. First shot goes way high. Second shot, just miss. Third shot, skims over the top. I finally get to punch the RNG trolls by killing the Studer Emil, but that was annoying. And of course, the Studer Emil decides to blame his team for his failings. So, what are you going to do? But that said, though, on the way there, I decided to type a message to him saying, look, it's just bad luck. You get it all the time. And at that point, it was the weekend, so what can you do about that? So the game is pretty much ours. We're just rolling into the enemy base to try and see if we can find the last artillery and hopefully get some scrub cap points in the process. And as we approach the base, the fucker decides to kill himself. My apologies for such harsh language, but nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever do that. I mean, people will do it, and it's, you know, if you think people shouldn't do it, you're new to the internet and all that malarkey. But that guy right there, I'm going to call him out, he is an asshole. Why? Because he doesn't even have the grace and sensibility to say, well, look, the game is lost, I might as well do what I can to salvage the situation. Or, God forbid, actually play fair and, or, you know, accept it and take the defeat, rather than commit suicide like an utter scumbag. But, unfortunately, you can't win them all, and unfortunately for this man, he is a cowardly shitbag. But what can you do? Anyway, let's take you to the results of that game. So there are the results of that second game. We were victorious. I got a Mastery Badge 3rd class. Got a lot of experience on that. 1,000. Going into the game, our team score, I didn't do the most. I got the 3rd amount of damage and the 4th amount of experience. So it wasn't a terribly fantastic game. But that said, it wasn't, it was a pretty good game, regardless. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was, especially when I was trying to take some shots against the T29. I don't know how many shots I threw into that guy, but probably enough to say kind of desperate to get that kill. And then, of course, the amount of RNG troll I had trying to get the Stuart Emil as well. It was just taking the mick at that point. But that said, what can you do? RNG. So, here we are for the 3rd and final game of video of this replay. I am in El Haluf. I am low tier in a tier 8 match. And I'm going to probably be going to the usual camp spot. Unfortunately, this, as a low tier tank, I wasn't feeling too super aggressive. And so, yeah, this is probably where the dull side of this map comes out, is the fact that for at least a few minutes, if you're not going down into the not gotta get shot at zone, the game tends to have a slow progression. So Ballsig decides to try and chance going up to top, see if he can get a shot in. Nope, no chance there. And I will say, I am very much looking forward to the map changes in 9.2, because there is just... this map is so dull otherwise. I mean, Comrin is actually worse now, shockingly, but still, it's pretty bad. So this match is not going as fast as pace as you want, so I will speed things up to try and keep you guys from becoming so bored that you turn off your computers and run away in mad hysterical terror. T44 tries to push up towards our hill. Borsig decides to see to that. T69 over there. We take a couple of punch shots at us. T69 gets a few shots into the VK4502A, along with the other heavy tanks out there. And the next shot, he actually ammo racks him, which is pretty awesome for that guy. He's had a good game so far then. So I send a message over to him saying, nice kill, after telling him to withdraw so we can have some clean shots straight into that lineup. And yeah, it's kind of the same-ish thing. I'm keeping my eyes peeled on that T44. Lerve decides to come around, and the stagnation of this map. Unfortunately, I can't do anything but just keep watching this bit. So, taking our time. The IS-3 and the IS tanks are still chilling. I will just speed forward up a bit more. Still taking our time to aim, waiting for something to happen. I think the Lerva tank finally decides to make a push for it. By that point, artillery has a go at us, so I know I've been spotted. And taking my time, trying to see if I can spot something. Ah, crap, no. I better move away from the Borsig in case he's spotted. I get shot as well. And yeah, this is unfortunately the reality at times of the El Haluf, is when you're not super high tier, there is literally nothing for you to do but wait for either your team to win and push the enemy back, or your team to fail and be pushed back. But luckily for us, Jagd Panzer IVs appear, and I take my time. First shot goes high, second shot goes in, and the Borsig has to block me, because that's fair. So I kind of rumped into the back of him a little bit, more determined to get an aim at the shot. Then, of course, he decides to just stay there. Helpful Borsig. So at this point, I'm getting a bit fed up with waiting now. I'm like, right, okay, if I'm not gonna have anything done, Gotta do something. Come on, game. Give me something to shoot at, verdammt. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah, yes. Please, let me... Come on. Come on. Let me see you. Please, let me shoot you. I need something to shoot at you. Please, come on. Come on. Right. Sod this. At that point, I just gave up. Like, sod this camping position for a packet of well-cooked, well-pristine chips. I am going to go hunting. So, and by that point, Borsig, I think, got a shot in. I'm not too sure. But he did something. And now, the game is looking not very good for us. We've got... I mean, our tanks are slowly starting to push down, which is great. But unfortunately, we are losing the right hand, or this flank over here. Gewehrpanzer camps and gets a shot in and kills the Löwe. I come in to support the T69. And I will say, at this point, I was really unsure as to what was going to be happening in this game. I start taking up defensive positions behind the T69 with the mad, vain hope that the IS-3 would get shots. I could get shots on the IS-3. Borsig tells me to withdraw. Realizing I was probably in his way, I back up enough so I can still get a shot. And once again, the dullness of this game starts to come through. IS tank comes along, bang! I asked the Borsig if I had a shot. He has a shot, but I didn't answer. I take a couple of shots, and using premium, admittedly, but, you know, it's there. And I get a nice couple of shots in when all of a sudden the Tiger decides to go, I want this kill! And charges at it. So I take the opportunity to charge. Using him for distraction, I peg it down the line. I make sure to stop. I donk the first shot. And then I focus completely. I do it on the track. Tiger tank gets knocked out. I get RT'd, but I just focus up as much as possible, trying to throw as many shots in my direction. I luckily kill the IS-3 and make myself, I peg it for the nearest base. I'm under fire from all angles, trying to desperately get out of there, and fuck me, that was close. Jesus Christ. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just reacted, and damn. But that said, though, the Borsig Waffenträger starts to come into his own by providing some of the best armed fire I've seen. ARL V39 appears. I couldn't quite get a shot on him, but by this point I was absolutely paranoid of getting artillery or RT'd because they were on the ball hell. I took a massive punt from them right there. So I was determined not to not to screw this up, because we were given a very nice opportunity by that Tiger dying to outflank and outmaneuver the enemy team. So the T69 and the Borsig focus on the Tiger P down there, whilst I move up and try and get into position. ARL V39 appears. I take a pot shot, shit my pants moment, and boom. Borsig Waffenträger gets the kill. And I thank him immensely. I had the caps on at that point, but I didn't care. I was like, thank you so much. So I advance very cautiously around the corner. And maybe in this game, I'm not an expert on this thing. Maybe I could have been more aggressive, but I was just... It was like I've rarely been put into these positions, and too many times beforehand I've buggered the situation up. I make the mistake. I don't react fast enough, so I thought, sod it, play cautiously. The AMX M445 is struggling with a couple of tier 8s down there. Borsig is on his way. I try and move into position to support, whilst also keeping an eye out for artillery. I move into position and go, oh shit, there's a Yug. That's a low damage roll of all things. He donks, I don't. And by that point though, the artillery and the Borsig take care of the tier 8 problem. So I take an extra long time to withdraw and head round the flank again. Enemy Tiger tank. Our Gewehrpanther though, enemy Gewehrpanther knocks out the Borsig, and I'm like, no! God damn it! And I immediately throw the signals to the Tiger 1, as he could really screw the game over, as the enemy artillery was still in play. So, at this point, nervous wracking moment, you know. There's the enemy artillery, gotta find him. Oh shit, 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 shit! Shit! He's gonna... Oh my god! Thank God. Okay, I can breathe again now. The next shot of artillery misses, and luckily for us, we knock out the enemy thing. Enemy artillery. I take a pot shot. Unfortunately, it doesn't miss. And I think, I don't know where it was, but I think, oh yeah, at this point I said thank you for knocking out the Tiger. Don't know why, I just did. I was half panicked at this point. And then I screamed to the team, hammer this bastard, as I wanted to, I didn't really want to chance going down there in case he could have killed me. So, I'm very cautious. You could tell I'm absolutely panicking here, like shitting bricks at the moment. Now looking back at this replay, I probably could have gone for him at this point. Like if I had just bull rushed him there, like if I had bull rushed him with his turret was up. But all I could see was his gun that way, looking at me. And I just didn't know what to do. I thought, well look, I don't have enough speed, he won't take him too much to aim, gotta lose him, gotta find a way around him. So I decided instead of going straight over the hill to try and find a way of getting a speed advantage. By this point the T-69 was slowly approaching as well, and I decided to say, right, sod it, throw some pair of balls, charge, donk the first shot, he donks the second, I hit the first, ram him a little, second shot in, and the T-69 steals the last kill. But, that said, looking back, I know I could have been more aggressive, I probably could have got that kill, but I was at that point bricking it. I don't think I do very well under pressure, but I was so relieved to see that I had survived to win the day and, you know, hope and also carry the game alongside with the Borsig. So, crap. Let's take you back to the results screen. So, after that absolute bricking it game, I only got a mastery badge 2nd class, so clearly there are much better people than I using this tank. But that said though, it was a fantastic game. 51,000 credits, which is pretty awesome, and 1,479 experience. For the team scores, I didn't get the most damage. In fact, I only got the 4th most damage, but I got the most experience of the game. But that said though, it's not all down to me. Credit where credit is due. The T-69 and the Borsig drivers were fantastic, especially, I bet the T-69 was quite chuffed with the ammo racking. But thank you also to the Borsig driver because he did save my arse at one point. So kudos to that man as well. So guys, there you have it, the E25. I undoubtedly made some very noobish mistakes with this vehicle in the earlier sections, definitely. In all honesty, I guess I could have been a little bit more aggressive at the end of the last one, but I was so determined not to cock it up and end up killing myself in the process, you know. So, as much as it's a royal, you know, pain in the arse, hey, better not get a kill than look stupid and die. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching this. If you like this kind of content, do feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, clicking on the like button, and of course subscribing to the channel. If you yourself are a World of Tanks player, a YouTuber, or a YouTuber who does World of Tanks, if there's anything I could do to improve my overall commentary, you know, if I rambled on about something too much, didn't ramble on enough, anything like that at all, anything to make the next video even greater than before, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching this, guys. This is Crap Hunter signing out, and I'll catch you next time.